We are live.
Hey, going live. There's usually a video that we go live with.
I got bumped right out of the shoot here.
That was not me.
So I don't know what's going on here, but I need to get back my screen. Okay. Back to where we were. Okay. I'm going to try and move with the logo.
Okay.
Okay, so Merry Christmas. It's the 21st of December, and this is Peaches and Bananas. We had a little rough start here. I've been very sick with the flu today. I'm trying to pull it together to do this video. I really want to be back in bed. I have a nice bowl of chicken soup here that Tanya Dude had sent to my doorstep. Very thoughtful, very nice, very wonderful friend to do that, such a thing. All the way from Puerto Rico, she had chicken soup dropped at my door. That's a true friend right there, buddy. Right?
I tried it. I'm sorry that it wasn't as good as the price tag on it made me believe that it might be.
Uh-huh. And? Uh-huh. And?
Well, I tried. I hope that it makes you feel better even though it's not so great.
Uh-huh. And? I mean, you're going to have to do some of the talking today, dude. I can barely talk. I can barely breathe. Keep on talking. You're going to have to be a talker today. Here we go. I'll roll some music here, TV game show. All right. Voter GA Zoom highlights. Where is he going to get them? Where else are you going to get Voter GA Zoom highlights, huh? Right here. The answer is right here. Nowhere else but right here. You may get some rolled out there from other people like Garland later on, but fresh right off the press, right off the Voter GA 3-hour Zoom call. It happens every Saturday morning. We attend that call so you don't have to. It's 3 hours on Saturday. Well, I'm saying 3 hours. They've shortened it up now. It's like more like 2 hours and 2.5 hours. If you're a true blue, get there early and stay to the very end. Okay, so it's like 2.5 hours every Saturday morning, but there's a lot of good information that comes, and that's what we're doing here, presenting you with that. What is Peaches and Bananas, dude?
Hi, well, Peaches and Bananas is what we call our show where we bring you a taste of what happens in the Voter GA call. And we mostly talk about Georgia. That's where you get your peaches and the good people fighting for free, fair elections and our peaches, and we award them with the Peach Award. And then we are running up against a lot of people that make us feel like we're in a slippery slope to become a banana republic, and those are the bananas. And we are going to be focusing on a big banana in this show, that is Fani Willis. But first, I'm Tanya, and this is Viking Dude, and we have been volunteering with Voter GA right from the bat since at the end of 2020 was when I first found out about Voter GA, and have been tuning in to the call every Saturday, give or just about. And now I get to help out Garland as his executive assistant, and Viking Dude is not named Viking Dude right now. He's going as heavy hitter today.
Oops.
And he is has been a long time volunteer to one of the Garland likes to call him one of the core volunteers with Voter GA. And so what am I missing?
All caps with your name.
Okay, right.
I got it.
Yeah, so we give you a taste of the Voyager call, and although this time around, Garland did such the main topic this week was Fani Willis, where Garland discussed the dismissal of Fani Willis's election interference case.
Are we done? Are we done with promotional announcements? I don't think we are yet, dude.
No, you normally do that part, so I was just kind of saying words till you got ready and fixed my name and all that stuff.
Yeah. Well, did you talk about this at all? Did you talk about our social medias? I had it up there. I mean, you were just kind of rambling. Did you hit on that?
I didn't. Viking did. So yes, before I give you a heads up of what we're going to be talking about today, kind of interrupting myself on that. You can follow us on our social media, and you can follow Peaches and Bananas on X, and that is at Peaches2Bananas, because the other the other ways that I wanted to put my name, the usernames were taken. And you can catch this show on X, Rumble, and YouTube live. On Facebook, I will upload it later on, because we don't have enough followers on Facebook to be able to go live there. And that is on the Magastruck channel. So you can think of it like a TV. Magastruck is a channel, but Peaches2Bananas is the show.
That's correct. And also, I want to call everybody's attention to our Give, Send, Go. I hate that logo always covers that up.
Okay.
Let me pull that down here. Just a second. Okay, so our Give, Send, Go is it's givesendgo.com/Tanya needs our help. I talk to you every week and appeal to you about why Tanya needs our help, but it's an easy one to remember. Tanya needs our help. Tanya's getting the proceeds for, thank you to those of you out there who've given the $700. About 4 or 5 people, or I maybe more than that, have aggregately given $700, and that is fantastic. Thank you so much for finding the kindness in your heart. Whatever you can do to help Tanya. She has challenges, and we're going to learn about those challenges in a forthcoming episode. We don't know the date yet, but I wanted to just show this. Before Tanya went back to Puerto Rico, we did a little interview. It's part 1 of an interview called "Who is Tanya Sosa?" And we will be running this interview and a little bit of story and background about Tanya. And here we go. Here's a little flavor. You actually flew yourself? Because to me, it was amazing that you had such a challenge of a challenge of mobility, that I'm like, you didn't bring anybody with you, or you do this by yourself? You actually get on planes, and do they look out for you, take care of you? I mean, I was kind of blown away,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I had to do this one on my own.
Okay, so there's going to be more to come on that. It's a fascinating interview with Tanya. So we'll be putting that together in the future when I get time. But once you guys see this interview, you'll know more about who's Tanya Sosa, and I think you'll understand why I put the Give, Send, Go together. It'll help you better to understand. Because that's not a grift. Tanya really does need our help. Okay. All right. So I guess that's it, right? For announcements and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Try to fly right through there. Oh, one other thing here. We cannot go through any episode without showing this beautiful, lovely lady who's in prison in Colorado. That's our perpetual peach. That's Tina Peters. We will show this every week. Set Tina free. And right, dude?
Right, dude.
Okay. Don't forget about Tina Peters. Say her name every day. All right, bye. You're up, dude.
Okay, you said bye, so I was confused.
Well, bye from me for this segment, because I'm going to shut up.
Okay, so we're bringing you the Voter GA highlights, and this week the main segment on the call was what we're calling Fani Under Fire. And Garland gave a great summary of the sham of the case that she had and why it was dismissed finally. And it was dismissed by the prosecuting counsel, and the executive director of that, his name was Pete Skandalakis, and Garland does a review of that dismissal, which it seemed important to bring to you because you kind of need to understand what a sham of a case it was. And then Garland also summarized some points that came up in this hearing that happened on Wednesday by the Senate Investigative Committee, and they had Fani Willis go in to testify. They questioned her. It was, by all accounts, very fiery, and so if you look up any news about the case, all the headlines will be about how contentious it was, how fiery it was, and Fani was
is that the first slide?
defensive.
Is that the first slide you have, dude? Right there?
What I'm going to show is not a slide; it's Garland speaking. So
well, it says case dismissed. Is that what are we looking at? Is that your first slide?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, can you command plus in on that so not so much black space? Command plus.
Command plus. There we go. That better, dude?
Yeah, keep coming. There you go.
More?
Right there.
More? Okay.
Let's get rid of the black.
Okay, I'm not seeing the black.
Yeah,
anymore.
It's gone now.
Okay.
You zoomed in.
All right, cool. Yeah, so Fani was brought in to explain herself in front of the Senate Investigative Committee. You wouldn't have imagined that's what she was there for, because from her perspective, she was there being asked to come in as a consultant because she is, from her belief, the best DA in the country and the nation, and that would be why the Senate invited her to speak in front of them so that they can come up with better laws. But no, she was there. She was there in front of the investigative committee, and where we think that's headed is for them to do their homework and get some questions answered, because I think it's really laying the groundwork for possible impeachment in the future. So we'll see about that. And I have a presentation given by Garland, and it is an edited down from what happened on the call. So, but he did a good job in summarizing all those points in between her case, why it was dismissed, and what was exposed at the Senate committee. So I will play that for everybody, and we'll be back.
Come on, play it.
What has the prosecuting attorney's counsel found out when they dismissed the case? I want to give you a little bit of background. Fani, this whole thing started on September 15th, 2021, when Fani Willis went to the Fulton County Commission and asked for $780,000 and another $5 million a year after that to reduce the backlog unindicted murder cases. Well, of course, the commission gave them the money, but she used that first $780,000. First thing she did 6 weeks later was to hire her boyfriend, Nathan Wade. Nathan Wade had been her boyfriend since 2019. And she then, when she gets her first $5 million in January, she opens this investigation and indicts 18 of her political adversaries. I want to just go through some of the quotes in his actual document, which was, I don't know, I think it was about 28 pages, I believe. So he says, and he leads off with probably one of the most important things that a lot of folks don't realize. The prosecutor has more control over life, liberty, and reputation than any other person in America. That includes the President of the United States. As we've seen recently, the president has not even been able to get Tina Peters out of jail yet. We hope that's going to change this week. So starting off, the major point he makes is something we all know, except Fani Willis didn't know. It is not illegal to question or challenge election results. It's never been illegal in America. It is not illegal now, and God help us if it ever becomes illegal in the future. He explained in his document that he is electing to focus solely on the acts that can be proven within this state. That's what a district attorney's scope should be. The district attorney only has power to indict people who commit crimes in their county. In regards to the Republican electors, he said specifically the Republican electors lacked criminal intent. Criminal intent is an essential element of committing any crime. And he says nothing in the evidence suggests electors conspired to overturn the election. There was no conspiracy. He said that the electors believed their actions were legally required to preserve Georgia's electoral votes. That's something that we have known all along, but the local news media has lied through their teeth about. He said the RICO count and many of the predicate acts continues to unravel when one scrutinizes the allegations against federal officials Jeffrey Bosart Clark and Mark Meadows. Jeffrey Clark was represented by Catherine Bernard and Harry McDougal. He says the charges brought against Clark are especially concerning. They plainly fall short of the far more rigorous standard of proof beyond a reasonable doubt required to sustain a criminal conviction. You might remember, this is one of the most interesting ones. Jeffrey Clark simply wrote a document while he was acting. I think he was the assistant attorney general at the time, or he was going to be appointed acting attorney general. He sums this up really interestingly. It's difficult to see how a jury could find beyond a reasonable doubt that Clark committed a criminal attempt when he labeled this document as a draft, submitted it for supervisory approval, accepted his superior's decision not to issue it, and never delivered the letter to anyone in any state. So how can just simply writing a draft letter and to circulate amongst your supervisors, how could that be a crime? This is the absolute insanity of this Fani Willis's, which is not even the appropriate word. It's not bad, good enough. He moves on to federal officials, specifically Mark Meadows. He says that at no point did Meadows or President Donald Trump explicitly solicit the Secretary of State to violate his oath of office. That was what the charge was. He says, I'm deeply troubled that neither the state Meadows nor his defense attorneys have been able to access Meadows' diary and notes from the National Archives. That may be critical to his defense and potentially exculpatory. He talks about the victimization of Ruby Freeman. Remember, there were 41 counts in this thing, all different, all alleging a conspiracy together when many of the people didn't even know each other. This was Harrison Floyd and Trevian Kutti, and then the Reverend Lee, who was represented by David Alls. He says, however, these three people accused of the activity involving Miss Freeman were so far removed and unrelated to the goal of organization, which is required for a RICO count. He says, I find these charges are too tenuous to be part of the RICO count because they didn't know the electors or anything else. I mean, there's just no connection there. So, of course, it wasn't involved in a RICO. In regards to President Trump, he says this entire case is without precedent, and he noticed that the district attorney who initiated this, was ordered to remove herself or her special assistant from the case. And he says severing President Trump from the rest would be both illogical and unduly burdensome and costly for the state and for Fulton County. He goes on to say, I'm extremely reluctant also to criminalize the act of attorneys providing flawed legal advice to the President of the United States under these circumstances. Now, I would argue that it was not flawed, but that's a different subject. So, in conclusion, he says that the Prosecuting Attorneys Council of Georgia lacks the resources to conduct multiple trials in this matter. Continuing this litigation under these circumstances would neither serve the citizens of Georgia nor fulfill our statutory obligations. And he goes on to say, in my professional judgment, the citizens of Georgia are not served by pursuing this case in full for another 5 to 10 years, because that's what it would take. You wouldn't even be able to prosecute it until after President Trump was out of office. And the case was so tenuous anyway, it should have never been brought, as he's pretty much said there. So he wraps up by saying it's neither necessary nor productive to examine the indictment overt act by overt act or count by count to conclude that the overarching theory of this case is not a viable base for prosecution. I think this is one of the key statements in the entire thing. He goes on to say that the criminal conduct alleged in the Atlanta Judicial Circuit's prosecution was conceived in Washington, D.C. So now we have the Prosecuting Attorneys Council acknowledging that this prosecution was conceived in Washington, D.C., not the state of Georgia. So this is huge, and we're going to explain all of that in just a minute, because that came out Wednesday at Fani Willis's testimony. Indeed, as Special Counsel Jack Smith concluded that prosecution would be fruitless, then I too find that pursuing the prosecution on essentially federal grounds would be equally unproductive. That is what he concluded in dismissing the entire 41-count indictment, the RICO indictment that Fani Willis has spent $10 million a year on. So now let's go to the hearing.
And that was Garland's summary of Scandalakis' dismissal of the RICO case. And it was basically a case that when you go through it, it's kind of like going through cotton candy, where you poke at it and it just dissolves in your hands because it was that flimsy put together. And that was Scandalakis' review, pretty much. And
was that the end of that?
And those were Garland's highlights. Well, now Garland's going to go on to continue to talk about the Fani's appearance at the investigative committee, at the Senate Investigative Committee.
Well, I hope people are paying attention to all the vindication that is coming out now about the 2020 ballots and about the 2020 election and about the Fani RICO case and about all this stuff. I hope that people are starting to are paying attention, or are they just so far removed from it? It's been so long ago that they're not paying attention, and that's all. And that's all they wanted, and that's all they wanted anyway. To smear people while the news story is hot, and then 5 years later, once you guys are vindicated, nobody's going to remember, nobody's going to care. I
mean, one of the issues with Fani Willis' case is that it had this chilling effect. And now we're seeing, now that Harrison Floyd and Kathy Latham can speak, they're great accounts to follow on X, because Kathy is putting out there all the things that she was unable to say about the pressure that the counties were under to certify 2020. And they were, by her account, forced to certify, and it was so she has testimony that that it was forced. And in Harrison Floyd's account, now he's talking about evidence that he has from Ruby Freeman. And
I got to remove you from the stage here for a second. Yeah, here's Kathy Latham's X account. So yeah, everybody go. Yeah, doesn't do what I want to do here. There she is. She was our peach 2 weeks ago or last week? Was it last week? No, it was 2 weeks ago. Yeah, she was our peach of the week, and brave woman here. Unlike Jenna Ellis and Sidney Powell, this woman who has not even near the legal defense resources that those two women have, who were also named as part of the 19, she didn't take a plea. She stuck in there. She said, heck no, I didn't do these things, therefore I'm not pleading to anything. Right?
Yeah, she maintained that she needed to remain truthful and that it would be a disservice to the country if she wasn't going to admit to something that she didn't. She wasn't going to lie. And
yeah, she said, show me where any of this, where I've done anything, where I've broken any law. Show me the law.
Yeah.
And they couldn't. And she said, well, I'm not taking any pleas because I haven't broken any laws. And she was fired from her job, right? She couldn't get hired. She, cost a lot of money, kind of went broke. I mean, but she stood by her guns. That is some steely oak tree kind of peach behavior right there, right?
Yeah.
And then Harrison Floyd, right?
Yeah.
Harrison Floyd. Where's Harrison Floyd? Oh,
that's not him.
I don't see.
Well, why
Harrison Floyd. Come on now. There's Harrison Floyd. All
it's HW_Floyd.
That's not it?
Yes, that's it.
All right. Okay. Yeah, let's go follow him.
Yeah, follow him, and in there there's a lot that he's putting out, amplifying Kathy Latham's testimony as well as his own evidence of Ruby Freeman's issues, and the real point, like the point that Garland really wanted to highlight, is that Fani Willis, it's been found that she was colluding with the Biden DOJ in pursuing this case to kneecap President Trump's.
I guess it was Wednesday.
I didn't mean
so.
I added you.
It's important to remember for this.
Yeah, so
it
that
should
just
automatically play. I don't know why it automatically played there.
Yeah. But, I was just almost done. That this was like an attempt by Biden to kneecap President Trump's race campaign in 2024, which of course they did not succeed, and we have President Trump in office again. And we can play the video to continue on with Garland's summary of Garland's highlights of the Senate investigative meeting. So you know these settings better than I do, Viking dude.
Just hit play, dude.
Okay, play.
That President Trump declared his reelection. He was going to run for reelection on November 15th, 2022. Keep that in mind for a minute. But even before that, Fani Willis had begun requesting documents from December 17th, 2021 from the J6 committee. Now you remember that she said, if these people come into my county and commit crimes, then I can prosecute them. Well, she went looking for evidence outside of Fulton County, and this is the proof of it here, dating all the way back to December 17th of 2021. Before the grand jury was ever impaneled, she requested it in January 20th. It was impaneled on the 24th, but she was already looking for evidence before the grand jury was ever impaneled. And the evidence was outside of her jurisdiction, outside of the county. And she goes and says, if they commit a crime in my county, blah, blah, blah. The majority of the indictees never had been to Fulton County. They hadn't been to Fulton County. They weren't involved. They weren't in Fulton County. And thus, she really had no jurisdiction to charge many of them to begin with. She tried to kind of slop this together as some type of a RICO case in order to try to indict people she had no jurisdiction to indict in the first place. So on April 18th, and this is what the evidence that came in the record this week that they needed to get on the record. Here are the expenses where her attorneys, her special attorney, her boyfriend, and 3 other attorneys went to Washington, D.C. to meet with the J6 committee after apparently Benny Thompson approved her request. And there was even an article about this in Politico. So that was back in April. But remember, Donald Trump declared on November 16th. But just prior to that, then President Biden said that we just have to demonstrate that he will not take power if he does run, making sure he, under legitimate efforts of our Constitution, does not become the next president again. So he basically is stating point blank he has a mission to prevent Donald Trump from becoming president again. So what happens? Just a day after President Trump declared he was going to run, the billing records of Nathan Wade show that they had not only a meeting with the J6, an attorney conference with J6 attorneys, but also an interview with the D.C. and the White House, an interview in D.C. with the White House. That's just 2 days after Trump announces, 3 days. His billing records also show other conference calls with the White House counsel in 2022 and other D.C. team calls with J6. So those were pretty conclusive proof that this was organized by the Biden administration, and it was organized in Washington, D.C., as well by the J6 committee chaired by Benny Thompson, so who went along with this illicit prosecution. But it gets worse. Fani Willis paid $10,000 for an organization, not an organization, but a vendor called Critical Mention, that they have some good software that they can identify and go out on the web and find where your name or your title or your organization is mentioned. Well, that might, first of all, we have to question whether that would apply. Why would a prosecutor want to do that? But even let's say that even that was legitimate. Well, let's see what she used it for. The person who was tracking her publicity value was Jeff DeSantis. He was the deputy district attorney of media relations for that organization. He's also essentially appears to be double dipping as a founder of 2020 Insight, which is another organization that does political research. So why is this guy doing 2 different functions? And we'll also find out later he was also a registered agent for Charlie Bailey for governor. So what they were doing, and this is one of the most fascinating things of the whole thing, is they were tracking Fani Willis's publicity value. Here's a graph, an email from Jeff DeSantis to Fani Willis, and it is showing that he's tracking a graph that she has got now $150 million of publicity value for opening the case back in February, that was as of February 17, 2021. And it gets even worse. This was a document that they used in the hearing, and it shows that they were tracking the audience impressions, the publicity value, individual story mentions of the Fulton County District Attorney's Office. And Dolezal asked Fani Willis, why were you tracking publicity value? And she couldn't answer. She kept kind of diverting the subject over into general public relations, not into why is she tracking her own publicity. Here's where she was paid. Nathan Wade, she paid her boyfriend. I guess Dexter Bond cut the check. He's an operations manager. But he was paid out of asset forfeiture funds. That's a misuse of funds. And there were several examples of this. I just wanted to let you see one of them. Here's an example of Nathan Wade block billing. Now, this is Anna Cross, who was another attorney who represented Fani Willis in court until she left after Fani Willis wouldn't take her advice. But as you see here, she bills to the 10th of an hour. And Nathan Wade never built to anything other than I think a full hour. I don't think he even billed half hours. Here's Jeff DeSantis, again, being a registered agent for Charlie Bailey. Charlie Bailey was running for lieutenant governor and ran for lieutenant governor against Burt Jones. She tried to claim, and she donated to the campaign and then tried to claim that, he was only running at the primary then. Well, that didn't sway the judge much. So just to wrap up here, she went into this and said 3 times that she's the best prosecutor in Georgia, and even once said that she was the best prosecutor in the country. So let's wrap up this by looking at, first of all, you will remember that the Fulton County Superior Court disqualified her from investigating Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones after she held a fundraiser for his opponent, Charlie Bailey, during the primaries. So that's an absurd position for a district attorney to be in. And she thinks that was a bad decision. That's how she just lost any scope of reality. The Fulton County Superior Court forced her to remove her boyfriend, Nathan Wade, or herself from prosecuting those 18 political adversaries she indicted. The Court of Appeals removed her from prosecuting those 18 political adversaries. And then the prosecuting attorney's counsel provided a detailed report showing that her 41-count indictment wasn't prosecutable. So that is her track record, but yet she goes in this week and says, that I'm the best prosecutor in Georgia and the country. She's just completely has no concept of reality. She doesn't even understand what she has done, or if so, won't admit it. It's beyond belief. There's a serious personality defect that this woman has. So to wrap up, I think that it is time to reinitiate and reintroduce the impeachment of Fani Willis. Charlize Byrd had this H.R. 872. It would have to be reintroduced because we're in a new election cycle now. I think, I might be wrong about that. That might actually have been last year. So I think it might still be current for this year. I'll have to double check. But in any case, it's time to reintroduce this and start advocating more for it, because this is incredible that she has spent at least $10 to $20 million on this incredibly politically motivated witch hunt. And it is, as we said 2 years ago when we called for impeachment, that it is America's greatest case of prosecutorial misconduct ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to get to the right. Okay, so trying to get some sound effects in there with the banana award. She's got a whole basket full of rotten bananas by now.
Yeah. I mean, I'm really hearing that evidence of financial mismanagement, with her boyfriend being a beneficiary and being able to bill in bigger increments than anybody else was. So, if you work an hour and a minute, he could charge 2 hours, as opposed to the other attorney that was billing in a quarter of an hour increments. So there was that, and then there was the self-gain monitoring, how her name was being out there, how she was getting fame and notoriety with this case.
Yeah.
And and really going after political opponents with the charge that she attempted, because she had attempted to indict Burt Jones, and he was removed from the case because it was found out right away that she was campaigning and donating and campaigning for his political opponent. So, yeah, big bananas there.
Big bananas. Well, that music in the background playing is transition to the final segment music.
Okay. So I'm not very familiar with sharing things.
Is this a free speech in danger segment?
No, it's not. It is. Garland also talked about some highlights about how in 2025 we didn't have very big wins, but there were some wins giving us some good momentum going into next year, and I figured that I'd amplify those, because at the end of the year it's good to remember. Like I get to hear a lot of frustration from people who said that we didn't gain anything this year, that nothing good happened this year, and some good did. And
some good.
This
yeah.
is our. I guess I have to remove.
You gotta remove
Okay.
me and add you.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's good for momentum. I actually thought that this year was really good in the Georgia legislature, because I got to see that there were more legislators involved in sponsoring good bills, and I guess. What is the most efficient way, Viking Dude? So this is normally something that you take care of in this platform, to go from one slide to the next.
I go to the next tab and I click share this tab. It's real easy. You click the tab up top, and then you go down below, and the strip at the very top, and it says, there's a little button that says share this tab.
Okay. Okay, I see it now.
Boom, that easy.
So thank you. So the big thing that happened this year is that the case dismissed. So all those 19 people there, to the left of Fani, have this weight lifted off them, and for people like Kathy Latham and Misty, next to her, she's an elections director in Coffee County. That means that they no longer have this felony showing on their records, and their lives can move on. And there's also, when their names get talked about in the media, they don't get to be talked about like they have, like they have been, that they've been talked about with the suspicion of having done something wrong when they haven't. And so that's a big relief for them. And we also, I guess I'm stammering because there's a little bit of redundancy in my slides. They also, with the case dismissed, they also now get to go after recovering their financial, their legal expenses from the county. The next good thing that happened this year is that we're seeing some accountability, and Fulton County elections are finally in hot water. And that is because they have acknowledged, and even their attorney, Ann Brownbaugh, has admitted that they have, for the 2020 elections, they have missing poll tapes for 20,713 ballots. And on the poll tapes that they have, they're missing signatures for 315,000 votes. And they'll be facing possible fines of at least 740,000 if the Attorney General decides to go.
Well,
for
okay.
it.
Just to simplify things, am I correct in saying that all of the early voting had no, in Fulton County in 2020, that general election, all of the early voting had no signed poll tapes?
Yeah, pretty much.
Well,
They- Yeah.
Pretty much, I think it is. I think it
Yes.
just is.
Yes.
All early
Yeah.
voting had no signed poll tapes, and there's missing poll tapes. And so it's
Correct.
315,000 votes that there's no that cannot be that should not have been certified because there's no signed poll tape. It's
Yeah.
like, did it happen? Did it not happen?
Yeah, like they have the poll tapes for those 315,000, but there wasn't someone signing them to say that they witnessed they were printed on the date that they were printed from the machine that was
Yeah, well,
at
and
the
there's
location where
redundant
they should have been.
machines.
Yeah.
There's redundant machines. Tabulator machines. There's redundant tabulator machines for different poll tapes that in different locations
Yeah.
where they got the same machine ID.
Yeah.
That should never happen.
Yeah, there's right.
So there's all kinds of shenanigans that they pulled in that election, and they're still pulling them. I mean, people were like, "Move on from 2020." It's like, okay, what about 2022? What about 2024? What about 2026? What about all the little elections in between, and the little municipal elections and stuff? Everybody thinks that it's just the general presidential election that everybody's up in arms about, and it's like, no, we're still using the same failed system. The system that is designed to rig outcomes. We know this now. We're still using that in Georgia. These people that are saying move on from 2020, you know what? You move on from saying move on, because we haven't moved on from anything. We're still using this freaking system that is robbing us of our voice and our votes, okay? It's a banana republic right now in Georgia. That's why the name for the show, Peaches and Bananas. Right? I'm sick and I'm stuffy and I got a sore throat and my sinuses are full and I'm trying to opine here, but it's like, you people you're part of the problem. Those of you who are saying move on, we got to move on. Yeah. No, we don't have to do anything. We have to figure this out. We do not want a banana republic in the United States.
And all this evidence needs to be understood and display for everybody to understand that we can't let this happen again.
I'm gonna give myself a little.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. Okay, so, all right, what's next, dude?
Yeah. Plus, there's also that the state election board are going after all the records from Fulton County. Fulton County tried to get a judge to quash that, and we got news yesterday that McBurney was the judge overseeing that, and he told Fulton County no, the case continues.
Is this the right slide? I mean,
yeah, I'm going over the last bullet point on that the state election board court battle with Fulton County for the records continues. So that's good news. Fulton County did not win in quashing the subpoena from the state election board.
Next slide. Yep.
So the next good thing that happened is that the Atlanta Fake News Journal is going out of print. They will be functioning as digitally.
About time.
Yeah. But as of next year, we're not going to see stuff like this on the newsstands for them.
Yeah. Well, most of them are going out of print. Everything is digital and electronic now, so you can't really say that that's like, ooh. Because, almost all the newspapers are no longer in print. Why? Typesetting. I took typesetting in middle school. You talk about a worthless class and, a vocation. Typesetting. We don't need typesetting anymore for printing presses. So anyway, that's not a big deal to me, but their subscribership, even beyond the print, which is going out of print, but their subscribership is way low, and that gets Yeah. Way low. Go lower.
Yeah.
Go lower.
Yeah.
Let's see some replacement. Let's see some seedy media jump in there. Let's see some new media jump in there that are truth tellers. They're not political hacks. That are just reporting the truth and reporting the news. Let's see the media become what they're supposed to be, which is, the fourth rail. They're trying to keep our politicians in check rather than being part of the rig.
Yeah, that was exposed by Jan Johnston, and it was something like that. It went from 600,000 to 42,000, so
Yeah.
a huge drop.
Yeah, make
So
it go
they're
lower.
way less effective, and they might go, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
so
mean, the
we're
media is
tired
bought. Okay, so all the media it's now corporate media. The media is owned by corporations who have agendas. Newspapers, all of it's owned. They have their masters. The anchors on TV, they get paychecks from people who say, "You're gonna pump the vax, dude. You're gonna pump that, or your job is in peril." That's what we're dealing with here. We do not have fair, objective press in this country. And there's even like alt media press that are popping up. But, when they start, their rocket ship starts to rise real fast, you start to see how even they become kind of sold out.
Yep.
It's a real problem, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what the fix is, but maybe that's part of the reason why we're here. So next good thing that happened, and this was when linked to the subject of the day, Senate Bill 244 was passed into law and signed by the governor, and that allows the legal cost. So it makes it so that the victims of prosecutorial misconduct get their legal costs reimbursed by the county. So there's Fani looking like $1 million. She looked great with some really expensive outfits at her hearing, but unfortunately, the costs don't get to come out of her pocket; they come out of the county's pocket. But hopefully, it'll go towards people becoming more informed about if people. Well, I guess that's a catch. If people were more informed about their county and how and how money gets wasted by their county, they might hold their elected officials accountable. Maybe they will. Maybe by exposing this and giving this a lot of sunlight, they won't elect her into office again. But at least for the victims, they get a chance of getting their legal costs reimbursed. And who knows, maybe the county will hold their officials accountable somehow. Some other wins to keep security-related wins. House Bill 113 banning the purchase of concerned goods from countries of concern, and House Bill 233 banning contracts with companies owned or operated by foreign countries of concern were passed and signed into law this summer. And we have a big nightmare of an issue with that, because the voting system that we have comes from software produced by one of these countries of concern. Unfortunately, this law is not retroactive, so it won't help us get rid of Dominion, but it will help us not get sucked into a trap like that in the future. And the last good thing happening
It's a blast
for
from the
our
past.
All right,
Ford.
then. You're gonna be okay, kid. You're gonna be okay.
It's one I'm looking for here.
Would somebody please?
Yeah, okay, let me go back to this side, because you're...
I have nothing to say.
That one.
Yeah, this...
When we have those
okay.
pregnant pauses, that's the one.
I have nothing to say.
Got it.
You gotta remember where that one is on the soundboard. Okay. How many more slides we got to go here, dude?
This is my last one, dude.
Cool.
And the last good thing happening, and this is part of our forward momentum, is that we have the big guys, the DOJ is coming in, and they have intervened in voter GA's most famous case, and that's a counterfeit ballot case that has been going on since 2021, where voter GA is seeking to analyze the mail-in ballots from the 2020 Fulton County 2020 elections from Fulton County. And the DOJ also filed a lawsuit against Fulton County for the 2020 election records, and that is after Fulton County told them to pound sand in response to their strongly worded letter telling them that they need to respond to the state election board subpoena for those same records. And that was filed on December 12th. And then on December 18th, they filed a lawsuit against the state of Georgia for the voter registration records, so that they can see that there's no dead people voting, and they're complying with all the points that they should, so that they don't have illegal registrations in there.
I have nothing to
And-
say.
Okay, so Viking Dude has nothing to add, and that's the last of my slides.
All right, good job, dude.
Thanks, dude.
Anything else?
Well, that's the end of the show for today. I know that you're not feeling well, so normally we like to have this segment about talking about freedom of speech, and but I know that you're not feeling well, so it didn't seem right to make you be in a discussion that when I know that you'd rather be resting. So thank you for
Oh, yeah, I've got the icks bad.
coming on anyway.
Yeah, I've got the icks pretty bad, but before we go, it's important to do this, dude. You can't gloss over the promotional stuff. We have a Give Send Go for Tanya. It's called givesendgo.com/Tanya needs our help. If you feel it within your heart to go and help Tanya, we'll be doing an expose here soon called Who is Tanya Sosa? You're going to learn about the challenges in her life, and I'm telling you, I mean, I really do hope it pulls on the heartstrings. I hope it makes you bawl your eyes out, because it makes me cry. So that people realize how much this woman does on behalf of all of us Georgians. Most of the time, she's doing it from Puerto Rico, and anyway, more to come on that. We'll be having an expose when I can finish the interview and show you some of the things about Tanya's life so that you understand what I'm talking about. This is not a grift. This is really helping someone who needs our help. Okay? And let's see here. Yeah, here's our social media. So
Yeah, something that would help a lot is if you follow us on any or all the platforms that you're on. Help us get the message out there. I know that I'm not great at this yet, but I'm working at it. Hopefully I'm getting better every time. Sometimes it's a little bit like one step forward, two steps back. But I'm trying to get you good information from the voter GA call, and keeping it simple and keeping it so that you can share it with your neighbors and get everybody informed, because we don't want to be a banana republic. Right, Viking Dude?
yeah, we don't want to be a banana republic. Are you MAGA struck? Are you MAGA struck? What is MAGA struck?
Yeah, what is MAGA struck? MAGA struck is realizing that there's nobody coming to save us.
Maybe we need that graphic to start saying, "Are you MAGA struck?"
Okay, I'll fix it.
I'm so sorry that I'm so congested here. I've got the X, and it's hard for me to talk. But look, MAGA is Make America Great Again. Trump brought that back. Somebody used the acronym MAGA, and that stuck. But, Ronald Reagan said that in 1980. He said, Make America He said in his speech in 1980. Dude, you even know which speech it was, too, right?
Yeah, I found it.
Yeah, what speech was it? 1980.
Yeah,
Was it the RNC?
I don't remember what it was called, but I'll have it.
I think it was a pretty big deal. I think there was a lot of people there. It might have been RNC in 1980, but he said we have to make America great again. So this is not a new concept that started with Donald Trump. This MAGA struck as the day, we woke up, each one of us individually, and said, "Holy cow, this is bad. This is not the America I grew up in. Who's responsible for this? Who's going to come in and fix this? Who's coming to fix this?" Nobody came. Right? Nobody came.
Nobody came. And dude, you're right. It was his acceptance speech at the National Republican Convention on July 17th, 1980.
Yeah.
And he said, "For those who abandoned hope, we'll restore hope and we'll welcome them into a great national crusade to make America great again."
Well, I got into a debate with someone here recently. She heard me say that. She listened to the clip and she goes, I disagree. There are people who are elected to do their job. And it's like, if you haven't been paying attention, the people that are elected are pretty much getting selected. Don't use the word elected anymore because selected. Our elections are rigged, okay? So they're not people being elected. They're people being selected, and their job is to serve their masters, not the people. Okay, so she obviously hasn't been MAGA struck. She thinks she is, but she's not. Because she hasn't woken up to the fact that until she wakes up to where she needs to devote some part of her life, some little corner of her life, to help and fix this, rather than leaving it up to other people, she's not MAGA struck. MAGA struck is the day you realize that. Okay? Right?
Yeah, well, we'll need to pull that clip of President Reagan and maybe make a new video. A new short or something.
Do we have a pizza of the week?
Well, I would say that our peach of the week is Garland. Because, we just heard him go through all the work that he's done this year and continue to do. So I think that our perpetual peach.
Well, we didn't prepare a graphic for that.
But we didn't prepare a graphic because you're the graphic preparer and you were under the weather today.
Here, we'll throw this up. Oh, come on. Oh. We'll throw this up here. We will, I'll share this and we'll zoom in on that a little bit.
And as I understand it,
and then give Garland all the peaches. Oh, where's my assets? And oh my gosh. Yeah.
So Garland gets the Peach Award.
He gets the peach.
Peach Award to Garland.
Yeah.
Yep. And we can't remember or can't forget.
And I have a feeling that he'll be getting the Peach Award many more times again.
Oh boy. Well, you were going to redo this graphic, but okay, so, but you haven't. So I guess I'm stuck with going with this. Where'd it go? My goodness. Here we go. Can't forget this woman. She's our perpetual peach. That's Tina Peters. She's still rotting in prison in Kami, Colorado. Yeah. Every day we say her name and we show her face. Not every day, every podcast that we're doing. If you have a daily podcast, you should show her name, show her face, say her name every day until she gets out. Right?
Yeah, Viking Dude pretty much does say your name every day.
Yeah. So how do you want to wrap this show up?
I think that we'll play our outro and say till next time.
Till next time, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Ho, 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 ho.
I'm moving to the country, gonna pick out all the peaches. County's full of beaches, the people wanna be free. I'm moving to the country, gonna pick out all the beaches. Gonna vote on paper ballots, paper from a tree. I took a trip to Cherokee, they had a hand count I could see, and I knew it was for me. I cast my ballot fair and free. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm moving to the country, gonna vote for all the peaches. Gonna pass on those bananas, those swampy politicians. Yeah, I'm moving to the country, gonna vote for all the peaches. Not falling for bananas or the tailpipe trickery. I went up to Forsyth County, they had a hand count I could see, and I knew it was for me. No bananas in their tree. I travel all over the state. Georgia people are irate. They want a vote that they can trust to cast the ballots fair and free. Yeah. Well, I'm moving to the country, gonna call on all you peaches. Gonna pass on those bananas, they're hiding in the peach tree. Moving to the country, gonna call on all the peaches. Gonna save our free republic, paper ballots is the key. Yeah, paper ballots is the key.